Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back on Gran Turismo Sport once again here for the Nations Cup series. And yes, really looking forward to try and get back into these. I have actually done a couple more of these races behind the scenes since obviously the last video went out way back at Fuji at the start of the year, but unfortunately safe to say they haven't gone too well. I tried doing the Maggiore or Sardinia, I think it was, in the Group 3s. Qualified P6, got myself up into P2 before turn 1, and then got completely sent to the Shadow Realm. So that was, yeah, one of the main reasons why we haven't seen many GT Sport videos over the last couple of weeks. Plus, obviously, Autosport, TORA Daytona 24. You know, there's been a lot of other projects going on as well behind the scenes. But yeah, hopefully we're back though today here at Dragon Trail International Raceway, which I've never actually driven a lap before this race. Now the track map makes this place look absolutely insane, or at least to me, in all honesty. It makes it look like the perfect racetrack in the world. A lot of elevation change, everything like that. The Group 2 cars as well are brilliant fun. It just doesn't work like that for me, unfortunately. I didn't really enjoy this track in the end all too much. There are a couple of places around it that are alright, but yeah, it just wasn't a particularly track that I did end up enjoying in this game. As we head through the final couple of corners though, this would be my fastest and only qualifying lap. The current provisional pole is a 23.2 there, and as we head out the final corner down towards the line, it is going to be a 123.127 there, snatching pole position right in the dying stages of the session there, ahead of the Greekman there. But yeah, really happy with that time in the end. I'm pretty certain the grip levels were a lot lower than they were in practice. I was setting like high 1-minute 20s, low 21s in practice, and I don't believe personally that I lost 2 seconds on that qualifying lap. But we are ready then on the grid. It was pole position at the end of qualifying there in the Group 2 cars, effectively the Super GT cars from Japan. We've obviously got the Lexus, the Nissan, and also, I'm forgetting the last car on this grid. But yeah, we are ready though on the grid for the start of this race then. The 5 lights are coming on now here at Dragon Trail, and it is lights out and away we go. They're not responding at all well to the lights. We're going to get jumped by 1-2 cars, maybe even more, as we head down in towards turn 1. There's going to be another couple of cars having a look up the inside there, and yeah, that has not been the start we need. You can see the Spaniard in the Nissan. They're completely running the Dutchman out off the exit of turn 1 there, so we're going to be able to get back past the pair of them and back up into P3 of the race there as we head through the next couple of corners there. The Spaniard is going to drop it over the curbs there, and that's going to put us up into P2. Chaos behind us at the start of this race there, and that has been quite a good little start for us in the end. Damage limitation after what was a absolutely terrible getaway. We're now back up into P2 and still right behind the Greekman, who leads the way there as we head out in through Sector 2 here. You can see coming through this fast S section. Really nice bit to get it right. Very difficult to do so though. You've really got to ride the curbs and maximise your run through all of the corners as we head down in towards Sector 3 here of the lap through this sort of Turkey-esque, I think it's 4 right-hand apexes here. You've got to run a little bit wide through the third part there, get the run off the exit of the fourth, but you can already see the Nissan out in front is pushing. He wants to build up a bit of a gap in this race here. It is 18 laps ahead of us, so like always in these, it's going to be about a just over 22, 23 minute race, obviously if everything all runs smoothly here. But yeah, we need to not allow the Greekman to run away at the front of the field there. You can see over the next couple of laps, he would just slowly but surely start building up that margin, you know, about 3/4 of a second a lap over us at the moment, and there was really nothing I could do to try and close up the gap to him. You can see up to about 2.8 seconds as we head onto the 4th lap of this race here. And yeah, I don't know what it was, just didn't have the pace to match him at the moment. Over the next couple of laps though, that gap would start to neutralise at about the 3-second margin. We had about a 4-second gap to the cars behind here, but as the tyres slowly but surely started to go off, their mistakes were starting to creep in as we head out off the exit of one of the corners here. You can see get a bit of a fishtail on as we head now down in towards the next couple of corners. Horrendous amount of understeer there. Only just dip a wheel on the grass and we get a bit of a twitch, and we just, in one of the worst ways ever, managed to spin the car around. But we've got to get it going back in the right direction there. We've lost a lot of time, we've lost a lot of places in the process of that. We've lost about 15 seconds through that one small mistake there, but we still find ourselves up in P5 of the race at the moment here. But yeah, the tyres, they were completely gone in the early stages of this race. So we're going to get a punt from behind as we head through the final couple of corners, and another punt on the exit there. We're trying to get into the pit lane there, so we're going to have to completely swipe across the front end of this guy there. But yeah, we're going to go out on a set of the hard compound tyres here, really try and take these ones as far as possible in this race. We're going to completely brim the car with fuel as well, although we are most likely going to have to make another stop in this race. I don't think the hards are going to be able to make 12, 13 laps here. But you can see coming back out the pit lane, I think they are the first person to make a stop in this race. So we're going to come back out all the way down in P15 here, but we need to try and keep our head down, keep the pace going, keep the focus up, and everything like that as we close up to the back of one of the other Lexuses here. There weren't actually many of us in this race. It very much seemed to be the Nissan show in tonight's racing. Now, I'm pretty certain, you know, there's no clear-cut best car in this class. Obviously, they're so quick anyway. It mainly just comes down to the driver anyway, I think. But yeah, really interesting to see just how many Nissans there were in this race here as we head off the exit of the hairpin there, one of the slowest corners of the lap. You can see we're closing it to the Lexus here, really all over the back of him as we head down in towards Sector 2 here. Through the S's we go, where we made that mistake last lap there. You can see one of the Nissans running a bit wide just in front of us there, and the Lexus, we're going to be able to get down the inside of him. The Lexus runs a little bit wide there. We're going to go very aggressive up the inside there. It looked like there was a lot more contact than there actually was, but I think he got a little bit loose as well there. But yeah, that moves us now back up into P13 of this race here as we head up in towards the final couple of corners of the lap here. We've got a Nissan now, next car up the road here, and you know, those final couple of corners, you've really just got to try and turn into one smooth rotation there as another couple of cars, the Spaniard and the Dutchman, both dive into the pit lane there. So that's going to be us up into P10 of this race there. P11, in fact. I think the Russian has just about stayed out in front of us here as we head down through turn 1. And that is, again, quite a fun little corner around this track, you know, especially in these cars where, you know, you forget just how much grip they have, you know, relative to sort of the GT3s, the GT4s, everything like that. Yeah, these Group 2 cars are absolutely mad in terms of performance. I think the only real thing that comes close to them is obviously the DTM series in Germany there. But anyway, moving back to this race, you can see struggling a little bit with understeer. We've got a couple of Nissans fighting just in front of us here, but obviously on the harder compounded tyres, they don't quite carry the same sort of grip as we saw from the softs early on in this race there. So we are struggling a bit at the moment as we head down in through Sector 2 once again. Well, we made that mistake a couple of laps ago, and we're running a little bit wide once again there. This time around we get it just about all caught back up there. Run once again deep though through the next couple of corners there. We almost dropped the car again, but this time round we just about hold on to it there. We've lost a couple of places though in a bit of time once again as we get a huge fishtail on the exit of the corner there as we head under the bridges. And unfortunately, all the progress we've made over these last couple of laps is going to get completely undone there as we head down in through the final couple of corners. A bit of contact going on between the cars just in front of us there. Someone's trying to look up the inside as well as we head out of the final turn there. The Lexus actually is going to dive it into the pit lane there. I think that's his first stop of the day. I don't think he'd actually pit up to this point there. So, you know, we're still doing all right at the moment there, but, you know, in terms of tyre wear, but race performance so far, 1st to 14th in 8 laps there, and it's going to get even worse as we go for a pirouette down the hill there. And those couple of corners were, well, my absolute kryptonite, it appeared, in this race there. And yeah, we're going to be back out now in P16 there. We have had a couple of rage quits though, so there are only 17 cars left in this race here. You can see end of lap 8, we were still really struggling at the moment there. Another couple of cars are going to dive in to the pit lane here, so we're just going up and down at the moment in this race here as we head down through turn 1. We're now back up into P15 of the race there, struggling still low with the understeer, but these hard tyres hadn't taken too much wear there as the Hungarian absolutely goes full send through turn 2 though. I really wasn't expecting that one, so we're going to try and get back past him as quickly as possible there. And yeah, that move kind of took me by surprise, in all honesty. He went for the absolute full Daniel Ricciardo eat your heart out move as we head down in towards the braking zone there. It's going to be a bit later on the brakes. We're going to try and keep the nose up the inside there, side by side on the exit of the corner, but I think he's just about able to hold on there. A straighter run through the traction zone has allowed him to now move up the place. There we got a pump from behind coming from the Russian there, as you can see, heading down in towards the final sector of the lap once again, just running a little bit wide through that corner there, and can we try and keep it through the turkey corners once again fairly nice and tidily here. I think we have just about this time round, as yeah, you can see over the next couple of laps though we would really fall off the back of the group ahead of us here. The Nissan is going to try and go for a bit of a lunge up the inside there, and we try to go for the switchback move. We can't even judge that very well at the end of the day there, but yeah, that has not been the performance we've needed so far here. 2/3 of the way through the race, and yeah, we're already down into last place here. But you know, we can't give up just yet. We've got to keep going as best as possible here in this race, as we're running a bit deep out of the next couple of corners here. And yeah, we're down into P17, but you know, we've got to make that move onto a set of the, you know, another compound of the soft tyres here in the late stages of the race. You know, you only lose about 10 seconds through the pit stop window here, and I mean, if we can go 2 seconds quicker than we were going, that's definitely worth it in the final 5 or 6 laps of this race here, as we head through the final couple of corners there. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Just get a bit of a tank slapper though, but we are going to move out into the pit lane here. It seems a couple of other drivers have done as well. We're going to need a tiny splash of fuel there as well, just so we don't have to worry about it in the late stages of this race there. You can see we are going to come back out in P16 of the race there. Clearly one of the Spaniards behind us needed to top up a lot more fuel than we had done in this race. But over the next couple of laps though, you can see slowly but surely closing our way back up to, you know, I would say the mid-pack, but it's really sort of the rear of the field battle pack at the moment there, as we head down in through the first few corners of the lap there. Close up now to an Austrian in the Nissan here, and I don't think we've seen any of him so far in this race here. But as we head down in towards the next couple of corners there, he's going to brake much earlier than I was expecting there, and in the end from that we actually help him make the place over the other Nissan here. Yellow flags are out. It says no overtaking. There's cars span all across the road here, and while we make a couple of overtakes anyway, not too sure how we got away with that one, but we certainly have. We're now out of nowhere suddenly back up into P12 of the Grand Prix here. No idea how this has all worked out over these next couple of laps here, but you can see we're closing up to to 11th and 10th here, and I mean, just 2 laps ago we were right at the rear of the field here. So it really does go to show, you know, this is why GT Sport is so popular here. You know, it's those weird little tyre gambles that you can make that would never work on another game here, but really do work out quite well on GT Sport. As we head out of the final couple of corners here, we're going to see P11 and 10 both lunge it into the pit lane as well here. So that's going to be another couple of places made up for ourselves. There's someone else just coming out the pit lane as well. I think it's the Russian once again here. We seem to spend this whole race about 3 seconds behind him at the moment here. But yeah, back up now into P10, but it wouldn't be long, as you can see, closing up further and slowly but surely here. But the Russian would actually make a mistake off the exit of the hairpin there, completely put himself into the Armco barrier there, completely unforced error. But that's us now up into P9 of the race here, and as we head through on towards the final lap of this race here. And yeah, I mean, at the halfway stage it wasn't looking good for ourselves, but we kept our head down, we kept it clean, and we didn't give up at the end of the day. And all, by no means it is as good a result as we had in qualifying there. You know, that'll come with more practice and more game time once again on GT Sport. But as we head through the final couple of corners, we didn't give up. It's going to be P9 at the end of the day there. Not, like I said, the result we would have wanted after qualifying, but we will take it. We'll take the points on the board there as well. But unfortunately, we picked up a 20-second time penalty. I might not have noticed that you actually had to pit on all 3 compounds of tyres there, and it looks like quite a few cars were caught out by that. So at the end of the day, that fantastic recovery all the way back up to P9 is only going to be P14 at the end of the race there. But, you know, we'll learn from that in the future. We'll make sure we check that before future races as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. Do get yourself subscribed if you're new around here and you do want to see more Gran Turismo Sport content on the channel. But yeah, that'll do us for this video then, guys, and hopefully I will see you guys next time for more Gran Turismo Sport.